You want that headshot? You can't handle that headshot. On this episode of Create, Consume, Repeat, I look at Blackmagic Designs' answer to live streaming, the ATEM Mini Pro, and tell you if it's worth picking up. At first glance, purchasing the ATEM Mini Pro may not make a lot of sense if you're just planning to hook up your DSLR to your computer for Zoom calls and the occasional live stream of your favorite game on Twitch. There are less expensive alternatives like the Elgato Cam Link that will help you achieve that exact goal. But if you want to live stream a multi-camera online show, educational course, or just increase the production value of your Twitch stream, the ATEM Mini Pro is the best choice because it's a hardware-based, multi-source, live production switcher packed with advanced broadcast features and the ability to directly stream to Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, or any streaming destination for that matter. And yes, it even works with Skype, Teams, and Zoom via the USB-C connection. The ATEM Mini Pro has 4 high-quality HDMI inputs on the back, allowing you to connect to any HDMI source, whether it's a camera, computer, game console, tablet, or mobile device. The ATEM automatically converts the signal to the video standard of the switcher. It is an unprecedented amount of plug-and-play versatility. Trust me, it's wild. And to illustrate that fact, here is a diagram of my setup with an Xbox One X connected to input 1, which Blackmagic recommends since it is the only input that supports low latency. Input 2 has my Sony a6400 as my main camera, input 3 is used for my B camera or miscellaneous device, and input 4 is reserved for my iMac, which allows me to share my screen. The 5th and final HDMI port you see is reserved as an HDMI out, which is used to monitor the live feed or view all your sources in multi-view. But more on that later. And yes, if you have a Blackmagic Design Pocket Cinema 4K or 6K camera, you can control the camera settings as well as the camera's color correction from the ATEM software control panel. So what good is crisp video without stellar audio? And here again, the ATEM Mini Pro offers 6 stereo inputs, 4 of which come in via the HDMI and 2 from the 3.5mm mini jacks on the back. It should be noted that all 6 inputs are controllable via the built-in Fairlight audio mixer that features a 6-band parametric EQ, compressor, limiter, expander, and noise gate. Wow. That is feature rich. And for the hardcore, it even allows for an analog input delay up to 8 frames, so you can perfectly sync your audio and video. But what about graphics, you say? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the ATEM Mini Pro comes loaded with a range of built-in video effects that allow you to create smooth transitions between sources, use DVE effects to move the image off screen. It even has a media pool that allows you to store up to 20 still graphics and a chroma keyer you can use to green screen to your heart's content. And all of this is professional broadcast quality. With that basic overview out of the way, I can really focus on the 3 areas that distinguish the ATEM Mini Pro. Most people interested in streaming will undoubtedly be familiar with OBS, the extremely popular, free, open source, cross-platform streaming and recording program. But what most people don't realize is that OBS shares the same CPU, GPU, and memory resources of your computer. Now, at first blush, this might not seem like a big deal, but when you consider all the tasks that are running in the background in order to stream, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Your computer is being asked to do a hell of a lot of stuff. Take, for example, a Twitch stream of Control, my favorite game at the moment. Not only must the computer run this CPU, GPU, and memory-hungry game, it must also encode your video and audio. Plan on chroma keying out your background, locally recording your stream for later editing. Maybe you want to add some awesome graphics and overlays. every one of these tasks must compete and share the computer's resources, which in turn results in either poor game performance, dropped frames, or even worse, your stream crashing. And trust me, it happens more often than you think. It's here where the ATEM Mini Pro excels though, since it allows you to offload the task of encoding and monitoring your video and audio, freeing up your computer's resources for better performance, less dropped frames, and a stable, crash-free stream, which I think we can all agree is pretty damn important. Number 2, usability. If you've ever live streamed, you know firsthand how difficult it is to host a live show all by yourself. Not only are you performing in front of an audience, you have to juggle streaming, monitoring, and of course, queuing up those super awesome graphics. That's why having a simple and tactile interface is so important. It frees you up to concentrate on the content of your show instead of running your show. And in this area, the ATEM Mini Pro is a beast. It provides you with a streamlined interface to monitor video, audio, stream duration, data rate, and local storage capacity at a glance. It also gives you an intuitive suite of buttons that allow you to transition between camera sources, increase or decrease audio per channel, fade to black, do picture-in-picture, locally record a stream to a USB flash drive in H.264, and of course, start and stop your stream. Still not convinced? It even allows more adventurous and advanced users the ability to set up complex macros via XML, which in turn can be used to automate tasks, like this intermission example that fades in the upstream key, mutes audio on channel 1, fades in audio channel 2, and then activates the downstream keyer with one single touch. It's a godsend, really, it is. As mentioned earlier, the ATEM Mini Pro is a powerful device packed to the gills with advanced broadcast features that you normally couldn't get at this price point. And yes, I know that there are those that will argue you could build and purchase a second computer that does all this and much, much more. But that computer would be way more expensive. Trust me, I spent a month speccing it out and pricing such a machine. Obviously, the ATEM Mini Pro isn't perfect. It does have a few drawbacks, most notably the lack of a 3.5mm audio out to monitor your live stream sound, which forced me to hook up my Atmos Ninja Inferno and rely on my friends to help me tune and properly set my levels. Another drawback is the inability to do animated stingers. While the ATEM Mini Pro does allow you to upload graphics into the media pool, it doesn't accept video. Two workarounds are connecting the ATEM Mini to OBS via USB-C. The only problem with that though is you can no longer take advantage of the ATEM's hardware streaming capability, which kind of defeats the purpose, don't you think? The other option you have is to try connecting it to a HyperDeck Mini, but that's an additional $700 and I haven't tried it. The biggest drawback is the ATEM Mini's lack of support for 4K. Now, I personally don't think this is a big deal, but for some of you out there, it might be a deal breaker. But if you're streaming in 4K, wow, you must have money to burn. That'll do it for this episode. And if you want to know more about streaming on the ATEM Mini Pro, drop your questions in the comment section below. And most importantly, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and bell button so you're notified when I host a live stream or drop a new episode. Catch you guys next time.